Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fakhirah binti Muhammad HAPIZI, UDE 20084. Everyone knows the best-selling natural mineral water in Malaysia is Spritzer. The Spritzer group of company has specialized in the manufacturing and distribution of natural mineral water, sparkling natural mineral water, distilled drinking water, carbonated fruit flavored drink, non-carbonated fruit flavored drink, functional drink, toothbrushes, preforms and packaging bottles since the late 1980s. The group is doing its best to protect the natural mineral water resource area, which is 330 hectares in Taiping, Perak, from pollution and damage. On top of, Spritzer manufacturing plant also equipped with automated and advanced bottling technology operated by qualified professionals to ensure that every Spritzer product is exceptionally high quality, worthy of the many awards it has won. The latest development Spritzer Berhad is on 24 November 2020. They committed in donating Spritzer natural mineral water to the COVID-19 pandemic frontliner both in Malaysia and China since the end of January. They continuously support, and recently mineral water is being sent to the hospitals, especially for those under red zone. This little contribution is to show respect and spread the love and care to the COVID-19 frontliner. This is not just because of the company corporate social responsibility, but wish to let the pandemic frontliners stay hydrated throughout the day. The motive of Spritzer, they want to improve the service quality and the well-being of society. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is NURDIANA binti Muhammad RIDZUAN from Section 2 with metric number UDE 200105. I will explain about the liquidity ratios, which is to measure the extent to which a firm has adequate cash flows or liquid assets to meet the short-term liabilities of the firm. For current ratio, I use current ratio formula, which is current assets divided with current liability, and I got 3.15 times for 2019 and 3.49 times for 2020. Next, for acid test ratio, I use acid test ratio formula, which is current assets less inventory and divided by current liabilities. And I got 2.45 times acid test ratio for 2019 and 2.95 times for 2020. Lastly, for inventory turnover ratio, I use inventory turnover ratio formula, which is a cost of goods sales divided by inventory, and I got 2.88 times for 2019 and I got 3.68 times for 2020. In this formula, I got the amount of COGS by add on the changes in inventory, purchase and raw material consumed. Then I divided it with inventory and get the inventory turnover ratio for these 2 years. Thank you.
My name is ADILLA IZZATI binti MUSTAFFA. My matrix number is UDE 200072. I want to interpret current ratio first. Spritzer SDM BHD current ratio is 3.15 times in 2019. It indicates that company has more current asset than current liabilities. In 2020, it showed an increase in current ratio by 3.49 times. However, this high ratio, such as more than 3, indicate that the company can repay 3 times its current liabilities. But it also indicates that current asset is not effectively used and has not obtained financing well, or has not managed its working capital. The second one is asset test ratio. Spritzer SDM BHD asset test ratio in 2019 is 2.45 times, which means it's more than 1. It has enough liquid asset to pay the current liability and should not be treated with caution, but the test asset ratio is much lower than current ratio. It means that a company current assets are highly dependent on inventory. acid test ratio increased by 2.34 times in 2020. This is not a bad sign in all cases. However, as some companies are inherently dependent on inventory, such as retail stores. Inventory turnover rate is a measure of the efficiency of company control of its goods. So, a high turnover rate is very important. In 2019, the company inventory turnover ratio is 2.88 times and increasing in 2020 by 3.68 times. The increasing inventory turnover ratio may lead the company to effectively sell its purchase inventory. Each high ratio does not mean that you make a profit from the sale. If you lose money on the product even if it sells well, a high rate is unhealthy. It may indicate frequent shortage and cause your client or customer to look for another source.
Assalamualaikum, my name is UMIE binti AIDI. My matrix number UDE 200130. Now I will present calculation of efficiency ratios of Spritzer in 2020 and 2019. So first we have earning per share, which is earning before interest and tax divided by number of ordinary share times 100 cent. So based on the calculation, in 2020, Spritzer record earning per share which is 19.88 cent, while in 2019, 14.88 cent. Second, return on asset, which is profit after tax divided by total asset times 100%. Total asset is calculation from non-current asset plus current asset. So in 2019, Spritzer record 6.26%, while in 2020 there has an increase in amount, which is 6.9%. Last but not least, we have return on equity. So the calculation of return on equity is profit after tax divided by total shareholders equity times 100%. So Spritzer record 8.03% of return on equity in 2020 and 7.52% in 2019. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, now I want to interpret each term in efficiency ratio. The first one is earning per share. Spritzer SDM BHD earning per share in 2019 is RM40.80 and increased in 2020 by RM16.98. The higher EPS, the better. Higher earning per share is a sign of higher earnings and a strong financial situation, so it's a reliable company for investor to invest. The second one is return on asset. Based on this calculation, the return on asset is in 2020 is 6.9%, while the return on asset in 2019 was 6.26%. Based on this ratio, we can say that the current performance is greater than previous year. It indicates the company more efficient in converting its invest fund into net income. The higher the return on asset, the better, because the company makes more money with less investment. The last one is return on equity. Based on this calculation, the return on equity in 2020 is 8.03%, while the return on equity in 2019 is 7.52%. It shows an improvement from the previous year. It means Spritzer SDM BHD management team is more efficient and more likely to provide investors with better return when using investment funding to develop the business.
Hello, hi, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURFARAH binti NASRI and I am from UDE 20 section 2. My matric number is UDE 200106. In leverage ratio, there is two ratios that need to calculate, namely debt ratio and interest cover ratio. Debt ratio shows total liability must divided by total asset, while interest cover ratio shows earnings before interest and tax must divided by interest expense. From annual report Spritzer Berhad on year 2020, the debt ratio showed there is 0.14 or 14%, while on year 2019 there is 0.17 or 17%. For interest cover ratio on year 2020, the Spritzer Berhad interest cover ratio showed there is 63.42 times, while in 2019 there is 60.08 times.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Nabila binti Anwar. My matrix number is 200109. Today, I will give an explanation about leverage ratio and profitability ratio. For leverage ratio, there is two explanations that I will give. The first one is for debt ratio. For the debt ratio, it indicates that debt ratio in 2019 is more higher than 2020. So, 2019 will experience difficulty in raising additional borrowing compared to 2020. For interest cover ratio in 2020 is more higher than 2019. So, it means that the higher the ratio, the higher is the firm ability to fulfill its interest obligations.
Assalamualaikum. I'm SHAMIMI binti RANI matrix number UDE 2000098. So I will explain about profitability ratio of Spritzer Berhad. First of all, gross profit margin. Gross profit margin is expressed as percentage, and the formula is the gross profit number divided by sales revenue times 100%. The gross profit for 2020 was Rm 136,739,000 divided by sales revenue of 308,450,000 ringgit. Then we times by 100, that give us a gross profit margin for Spritzer 2020 is 44.33%. While for gross profit margin 2019, gross profit is 189,562,000 ringgit divided by sales revenue 374,377,000 ringgit times by 100% is total 50.63%. Okay, the next for operating profit margin. Operating profit margin is referred as operating income divided by revenue times 100%. Operating income basically the difference between sales revenue minus cost of goods sold minus the expenses and minus depreciation. So now we calculate operating profit margin for Spritzer 2020. Operating income of 3,556,540,000 ringgit over revenue of Rm 308,450,000 multiplied 100% since it expressed as percentage. So the total operating profit margin for 2020 is 11.56%. However, in 2019, operating income is 39,783,000 ringgit divided revenue 374,377,000 times 100. So the total is 10.63%. The last for profitability ratio is net profit margin. The formula for net profit margin is profit before tax, and we divide sales revenue and multiplies by 100%. as we express as percentage. So profit before tax divided sales revenue give us net profit margin. Anyway, what I got here for Spritzer 2020, profit before tax is 346,440,000 divided sales revenue of RM 308,450,000 ringgit times 100%. So we got the net profit margin of 11.23%. While for 2019, I got profit before tax 41,990,000 ringgit divided by 374 million and 377,000 for sales revenue times 100% equal to 11.02%.
For the profitability ratio, there is three profitability ratio, which is gross profit margin, operating profit margin, and net profit margin. The first one is gross profit margin. For the gross profit margin in 2019 shows the best percentage of sale compared to 2020. So it means that 2019 reflect a good earning potential. Next, operating profit margin. For operating profit margin, 2020 is more higher than 2019. So it means that the revenue is enough to cover up the firm's total operating expenses. And the last one is net profit margin. The net profit margin for 2019 and 2020 do not show the significant percentage. The only differences is 0.20%. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is NURUL SYAZLIANA binti ZAINUDDIN. My matrix number is UDE 200111. So I would like to present my part, which is recommendation. In the preceding reports, we have examined that the company value based on the ratio analysis of Spritzer Sdn Bhd, which is a well-established businesses with long history of success. This report will review whether the company shares are worthy of investment and to recommend adjustment or to fill a need. We present our recommendation on whether the company share is worth of investing for based on our ratio analysis related to the financial statement from Spritzer Sdn Bhd that we will ask to analyze. There are three key points of recommendations, which is first, return on equity ROE of 8.03%, which is an improvement from the previous year, highlight the capability and efficiency of the company management. This means they will aim for a better return on any investment financing in developing the business. Second one is earning per share ratio of RM 16.98 ringgit per share, showing that Spritzer Sdn Bhd keep on improving their financial situation each year, which make it reliable company for investors to invest in. And last one is improvement in return on assets ROA, total of 6.9%, showing that Spritzer Sdn Bhd is efficient in converting its invest funds into net income. In conclusion, this point has discussed the key recommendation on why the company worth investing for, and it is an important thing to take into consideration because it is clear that Spritzer Sdn Bhd is making more profit year by year. And their financial ratios show that the revenue is enough to cover up the firm's total operating expense. Therefore, I recommend investors to invest in this company in order to remain competitive and focus on sustainability. That's all from me. Thank you.